Empathy maps are a visualization that capture and communicate our understanding of a set of users. And there's a traditional structure to empathy
to guide your decisions. An empathy map is really a tool to understand what the user is thinking, feeling, seeing, hearing, and saying.
Then draw 4 lines to separate the paper into 4 quadrants. In each quadrant, you're going to label what kind of content should go inside. The 4 categories you need are do.
An empathy map is a collaborative visualization used to articulate what we know about a particular type of user.
Judging from the title of this video, you already know I'm about to have some fighting words. Empathy maps. Useless? Redundant? What? But Niels, the norming groups. I'm gonna tell you in this video why empathy maps are a complete waste of time and why I've never made one and never plan to. Now, I don't just say this for like clickbaity, or I don't want to just do it to sound controversial. I say it because I've given it a fair chance. I've tried to find a use for it. But honestly, in my 10 years as a researcher, I found them to be a complete waste of time. Now, I will explain why, because there's one deliverable that makes the empathy map redundant, and that is the user journey map, or depending on your scope, a user flow. But in this video, I'm just talking about the empathy map. Let's start off with, what is it? What's an empathy map? Let's get to it. So here we see that the traditional empathy map takes 4 elements of what a user says, thinks, does, and feels. Okay? What are their quotes? What are they thinking in terms of what are they planning? They're doing. What are their behaviors? And finally, what are they feeling? What are their emotions? And you map it out into this quadrant, show it to your stakeholders in order to build empathy with said users. Now, the question is, how did we get to this point? So if you think about it, what you're plotting in an empathy map is essentially you had to have interviewed them to understand all these 4 elements of the user, right? Did we make assumptions about our users and fill it in? No. You had to have done the primary research to create it. Now, I've literally watched a few YouTube videos saying, you should brainstorm the user characteristics. I'm like, what? Why are you teaching that? Please, no. You might as well call it an assumption map. Empathy maps should be based on qualitative, generative research, exploratory, whatever you want to call it. Don't overthink it. There aren't that many qualitative research methods, okay? Observation, interviews, contextual inquiry, diary studies. Focus groups too, but whatever. My honest opinion, well, you kind of know what my opinion is. It's redundant, but why? The reason for that is if you did the qualitative generative research to learn about your users, you're going to come up with the same information, the same data that you could use to produce what's called a user journey map, which I argue is much more useful, way better visualized, and way more actionable. So why have an empathy map at all? To me, it is duplicate data, and you're creating a deliverable that's just for the sake of creating another deliverable. I've never made a formal empathy map. My stakeholders never asked me for one, and frankly, they never needed one, okay? But don't just take it from me. Here's a message exchange from one of my masterclass graduates who works at a large retail company as a UX researcher. They told me their company really values it, journey maps and empathy maps. And then I asked them, oh, well, how do you use empathy maps? And this was the response. Honestly, I find empathy maps useless. My director requested personas, journey map, and empathy map, and it felt redundant, to be honest. Now, a fellow viewer of the channel also commented on my 4.5-hour crash course video. If you haven't seen it, link in the description. This person said, hearing your thoughts on empathy mapping is so affirming. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I've always felt like empathy maps seem like busy work. They don't provide much value. Maybe I just didn't understand it since it just seemed to be like a staple in the UX community. So don't take it from me, and I hear you, right? We get taught these things, and they never tell us what's the real deal with it. Do you really need it? No, you don't. So these are just a few comments from real researchers working at real companies, also finding it useless. So my advice, you don't need it. Don't waste your time with empathy maps. Well, okay, Kevin, fine. What can we do instead? Well, great question. The deliverable or tool or output, whatever you want to call it, the deliverable that makes the empathy map redundant is the user journey map. I already mentioned this. Now, this is not an in-depth video about journey maps, but I'll show you one real quick. But if you want a full video, comment down below. So let's move into a journey map. A user journey map is a visual representation of your user's current experience interacting with something, a product, your service, some process, okay? And you break it down by different stages defined by research. Now, if you look up UX journey map online, you're gonna get a ton of templates, but they all roughly look something like this. Now, across the top, we have the journey, broken down into key milestones or stages. And if you don't know what the stages are, that's okay. That's why we do the research, in order to bucket key moments where a user switches goals. The stages reflect the point where a user starts to have a different goal. So after they finish one goal, what's the next goal? So those are the columns. For the rows, we have different elements. All journey maps have different things, but I've included 7 main elements, starting with the goals of each stage or milestone. And that's the first row. Then you have their experience, emotions. How are they feeling at each stage? Then we have tasks. What does a user have to do during each stage? The next row, tools. What are they using? Then what are they saying? Are you seeing it yet? Oh, are you seeing it yet? Okay, quotes, canonical quotes, things that best represent that stage, where whenever we pick quotes to use in research, we want that quote that best represents the insight that we're trying to convey. Then we have pain points. What are those friction points during that journey at that stage? And finally, if you take it a step further, you include opportunities. I sometimes even want to include recommendations or priorities as another role, just to make it more actionable for my team. Okay? So that's a user journey map at a glance. You can certainly adapt these elements to match your user's journey, okay? Heck, if you don't think a journey makes sense, even adapting this framework to plot out a user flow could work. Empathy maps, as you've seen, are fixed. You can't really adapt to match what your team needs to know. It's like a static quadrant, like it's literally a worse version of a journey map. Normally I would say, oh yeah, give it a shot, try it yourself, see if it works for you. But no, you don't have to waste your time, nor your stakeholders' time, all right? I've tried it a bunch of times. I've tried to see where it fits in. You don't need it. Empathy maps are useless. Is it a hot take? I don't know. Let me know in the comment below if you've ever made one and if you found it useful. So I'm on a mission to provide the most practical tips for being a badass UX leader, product leader, whatever we want to call ourselves these days. Teaching you how to think, not what to think. Let's unlearn some bad practices, clarifying confusing and conflicting resources. And I do all of that in the most comprehensive user research masterclass in existence. Check it out in the description below. I post videos on all things UX research related to help you become a badass UX leader. Mad love. Peace.